Shabbat shalom, everyone. Have we admitted people from Zoom also? Yeah, but okay, they're there. Okay, good. All right, we are going to begin with Shabbos Mincha on page 214. One of our rabbinic residents, David Kaplinsky, is going to be leading us. You may be seated for a few moments, and then I will call pages as we go through. But page 214 for Ashrei.
Just want to be a little closer to y'all. Ashrei Yoshvei Veitecha, Od Yalu Chasela, Ashrei Am Shkachalo, Ashrei Am Shadonai Elohav, Tila LeDavid, Arich Olay Melech, Tila Adonai Yedaber Pi, Yivarecho Basar Shem Kachol Olam Vaed, Vanachnu Nevarech Yam Et Havid Olam, Hallelujah. Uvaletzion Goel, Shavef Shavei Yaakov V'nim Adonai. אתה קדוש, ישבתי לו ישראל, וקרא זה אל זה, ואמר, קדוש, 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 אדוני צבאות, מלוך על הארץ כבודו, מגלים די מיני מרי קדוש. ותישאני רוח, וישמע אחרי כל רעש גדול, ברוך כבוד אדוני ממקומו. Adonai Imloch Olam Vaed Adonai Machati Olam Adonai Eloi Avraham Yitzhak Yisrael Avotenu Shomer Azul. Baruch HaGever Asher Yivtach B'Adonai V'Haya Adonai Mivtacho B'Tchuv Adonai Hadeyad Ki B'Adonai Tzur Olamim V'Yivtechu V'Cha Yodei Shemecha, Ki lo azavta doshecha, Adonai, Adonai chafetz leman tziko, Yagdil Torah v'yadir, Yadonai, do we have a minyan? We do, Yadonai, Yigadal v'yikadash shemei rabba v'yamad yivrak kirutei v'yamlich malchutei v'chayechon yomechon v'chayei l'chol beit Yisrael b'agalav izman kariv v'imru amen Yehei shemei rabba v'arach l'lam l'mei almaya Yibarach v'yishtabach, v'yitpa'ar v'yishomam v'yinaseh, v'yithadar v'yitale v'yithalal, shemed kudsha b'richu, le'ela min kol birchata, v'shirata, tishbechata, v'nechamata, tamiran v'yalma, v'yimeru, amen. Vani tefilati lecha, Adonai et ratzon, Elohim merov chastecha, aneni bemed yishecha. Vayhi bito Aaron, vayomer Moshe, kum Adonai v'yafutz oivecha, v'yanusu misanecha mipanecha. Should we wait for a second? Little pause. Yambara, yambara, yanai, yambamba, yambamba, yambara, yambamba, 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 yambara, yambamba, 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 yambara, yambamba, yambara, yamba, ya, hambara, yamba, ya. Hi, 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 hum it and I hum it I Yambambai, yambambai, yambidida nina, ayadadai, yadadai, yadidai nina, yambadai, yanai, yanai, nina, yanai, yanai, ay, 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 ay. Ay, 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 Yambere rambai ay ay, hambere ay 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 ay, hambere ay 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 ay. Ay, 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 Torah, 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 Tziva lanu Moshe, it's coming, Torah, 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 we hope we'll see the Torah real soon. Torah, 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 Tziva lanu Moshe, Torah, 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 the Torah is out on the loose. Torah tziva lanu Moshe, morasha keilad Yaakov, morasha keilad Yaakov. Torah tziva lanu Moshe, ya-na-na-na, ya-na-na-na-na, ya-na-na-na-na-na, ya-na-na-na-na. Hi, ay, 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 ay. Hi, did I, did I, by, by, bye, bye. Hi, did I, did I, ba, Should I say Vayhi? Vayivin Aaron, Vayomer Moshe, Kum Adonai v'yafutz oivecha, v'yanusu misanecha mipanecha, ki mitzion teitzei Torah, udvar Adonai miYerushalayim, Baruch shenatan Torah l'amo Yisrael, b'kedushato. We got the Torah. Gadlu Adonai iti, uneromim Hashemo yachtav, lecha Adonai gedula, v'gvura v'tiferet v'netzach v'ha'od, ki chol v'shamayim v'aretz, lecha Adonai amlacha minaseh lechol erosh, romemu Adonai Eloheinu, v'ishtachavu l'adam raglav kadoshu, romemu Adonai Eloheinu, v'ishtachavu l'ar kodsho, ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu. Got flipped.
Marcelia? Great. Sure. Hakov, to kavod la Torah. Okay. Yeah, Amod. Yosef Yaakov. Ben Michael. Virachel Malka. Rishon Baruch. Natan Torah lemois rabbi Kedushato. ואתם מדביקים על עליכם, חיים כולכם היום.
Baruchu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai Mevorach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech HaOlam Asher Bachar Banu Mikol Ha'amim V'natan Lanu et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen. Vayishlach Yaakov malachim lefanav el Esav achiv artzah seir sedeir et Edom vaytzav otam lemor ko tomru ladoni le'Esav ko amar avdecha Yaakov im Lavan garti vecha ad ata vayili shor v'chamor tzon v'eved v'shivcha v'eshlecha lagihid ladoni limtzochein בעיניך.
Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech HaOlam Asher Natan Lanu Torah Emet V'chayei Olam Nata B'tochenu. Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Abraham. Ben Abraham. Ben Liva Liliasheni.
Baruch et Adonai HaMevorach.
ברוך אדוני מלך העולם.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech HaOlam Asher Bachar Banu Mikol Hamim V'natan Lanu et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen. וישוב המלאכים אל יעקב לאמור, באנו אל אחיך לעשו, וגם הולך לקראתך בבמות איש עמו, וירא יעקב מאוד, ויצר לו, ויצר לו, ויחץ את עם אשר איתו, ואת הצאן ואת הבקר גמלים לשתי מחנות, ויאמר, אם יבואו עשו אל המחנה אחד לקרוא ויה המחנה הנשאר לפליטה.
Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech HaOlam Asher Natan Lanu Torah Emet V'chayei Olam Nata B'tochenu. Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Moshe Bamasi, Lily Ashley She, and it's given. Baruch Adonai Baruch Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech HaOlam Asher Bachar Banu Mikol Ha'amim V'natan Lanu et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen. ויאמר יעקב אלוהי אבי אברהם ואלוהי אבי יצחק אדוני אומר אלי שוב לארצך ולמולדתך והיטיבה עמך קטנתי מכל החסדים מכל האמת אשר עשית את עבדך כי במקלי עברתי את הירדן הזה ותהייתי לשני מחנות, הצילני נא, מיד אחי מיד עשיו ירא אנוכי. אותו פן יבוא, ויקני אם בבנים, ותאמר תיבתי ומך, ושמתי את זרעך ככל הים, אשר לא יספר מהרוב.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Does anyone feel comfortable lifting? The left side is very heavy. All right. Come on down, Gary. Michael, you want to rap for us? All right. Ya'amod hamagbiya ta'amod hagolelet. By the way, while we're getting this ready to go, just because I really like this song, there's a song, a tune to one of the verses that Michael just read, Katonti, that is really, really beautiful. It's by, of course, Yonatan Razel, and it is a beautiful tune. Maybe we'll sing it later, but if you've never heard it before, you should definitely look it up. It's verse 11 through 12, and he just does a beautiful job kind of depicting what the verses mean in a musical midrash of sorts. So, okay, now you can. Vezot haTorah asher sam Hashem lifnei bnei Yisrael al pi Adonai beyad Moshe. Eitz chaim hi lemachazikim ba v'tomechei hameushar. Eitz chaim hi lemachazikim ba v'tomechei hameushar. Derachei noam lechol netivotei shalom. Derachei noam lechol netivotei shalom. Yain 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 yain. Yanai nanai yanai nai 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 yanai nanai yanai nanai nai nai yanai nai 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 nai. Is there anyone here who has a yard site and would like an El Male? No? Okay. So we'll. Is it his yard site this week? Is it his yard site this week? Okay. Oh, he just passed away? Ah, Yehi Zichro Baruch. May his memory forever be a blessing. We're going to continue with the Torah service on page.
Page 170. No, it's not. 174.
I just forgot. No, this is
Sorry,
Shabbat.
I meant
This is Shabbat morning. Oh,
That's not bad.
it's okay. Page 220.
I'm doing great.
Go back to Shachrit.
Yeah. You put the bar on
I
there.
know, sorry.
221, right?
In that general.
Ya'alelu et Shem Adonai, ki niskav shemo levado, dol eretz shamayim, narin keren le'amo, ki lalecho chasidav, livnei Yisrael am kerovo, hallelujah, leDavid mizmor, l'adam eretz moat el'Yoshem. Seu she'arim rashechem, uzeu bichei olam, ve'yavo melech hagavot, vi'uze melech hagavot, Adonai tzivot, u'melech hagavot Selah. Yomar. Shivan עץ חיים היא למחזיקים בה ותומכיה מאושר דרכיה דרכי נועם וכל נתיבותיה שלום השיבנו אדוני אליך ונשובה חדש ימינו כקדם.
Chatzi Kaddish can be found on page 222, and then we'll go into the Amidah on page 223. First, we'll do the whispered Amidah, and then we'll join back together for the repetition.
יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה בימד יברכותי וימליך מלכותי וחייכון ויומכון וחיי לכל בית ישראל בגלה בזמן קריב ואמרו אמן יהי שמי רבה מברך לעולם יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם וינשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי קודשה בריחו לעילא מכל ברכתה ושירתה תשבחתה ונחמתה תמירן מעלמה ואמרו אמן.
If you've not yet finished your Amidah, please continue at your own pace. David will begin for us on page 223, and then we will join together for the Kedusha on page 225.
כי שם אדוני יקרא וגודל אלוהינו, אדוני שפתי תפתח ופי יגיד תהילתך. ברוך אתה, אדוני, אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו, אלוהי אברהם, אלוהי יצחק ואלוהי יעקב, אלוהי שרה, אלוהי רבקה, אלוהי רחל ואלוהי לאה. האל הגדול, הגיבור והנורא, אל עליון, גומל חסדים טובים וקונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות, מביא גואל לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה, אדוני, מגן אברהם. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי מתים אתה רב להושיע, משיב הרוח מוריד הגשם, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי מתים ברחמים רבים, סומך נובלים ורופא חולים ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומי דומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה מצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה להחיות מתים. ברוך אתה, אדוני, מחיי המתים. נקדש את שמך בעולם כשם שמקדישים אותו בשמי מרום, ככתוב היד נביאך לקרא זה אל זה ויאמר. קדוש 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 אדוני צבאות מלך הארץ כבודו, לעומתם ברוך יאמרו. ברוך כבוד אדוני ממקומו, דברי קודשך כתוב לאמור. ימלוך אדוני לעולם, אלוהיך ציון לדור ודור, הללויה, לדור ודור נגיד גולך, לנצח נצחים קדושתך נקדיש, לשבחך אלוהינו, מפינו לימוש עולם ועד, כי המלך גדול וקדוש אתה, ברוך אתה אדוני, האל הקדוש. אתה אחד ושמך אחד, מקמך ישראל גוי אחד בארץ, תפארץ ותפארת גדולה, ועטרת ישועה, יום מנוחה קדושה לעמך נתת, אברהם יגל, יצחק ירנן, יעקב בניו, ינוחו בו, מנוחת אהבה נדבה, מנוחת אמת ואמונה, מנוחת שלום ושלווה, והשקט והבטח, מנוחה שלמה, שאתה רוצה בה, יכירו בניך, וידעו כי מנחה היא מנוחתם, ועל מנוחתם יקדישו את שמך. אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו, רצה במנוחתנו, קדשנו במצוותיך, ותן חלקנו בתורתך, שבנו מטובך, ושמחנו בישועתך, ותאר ליבנו לעובדך באמת, והנחילנו אדוני אלוהינו, באהבה ורצון שבת קודשך, וינוחו בישראל מקדשי שמך, ברוך אתה אדוני, מקדש השבת. רצה אדוני אלוהינו, בעמך ישראל להביא תפילתם, והשבת עבדה לדביר ביתך, תפילתם מאהבה, תקבל ברצון, ותהי לרצון תמיד, עבודת ישראל עמך, ותחזינה עינינו, בשובך לציון ברחמים, ברוך אתה אדוני, המחזיר שכינתו לציון, מודים אנחנו לה. שאתה הוא אדוני אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו לעולם ועד, צור חיינו מגנישנו, אתה הוא לדור ודור. נודה לך, נספר תהילתך, לחיינו, מסורים ידיך, משרותינו ופקדו לך. ונשיאך שפו ימון, נפלותיך וטובתך שבעולי, ערב ובוקר וצהריים. הטוב כי לא חלו רחמך, ומרחם כי לא תמו חסדיך, מעולם קיווינו לך, ועל כולם יתברך ויתרומם שמך מלכנו, תמיד לעולם ועד, לכל החיים יודוך סלע, ויעללו את שמך באמת, על ישועתנו ועזרתנו סלע, ברוך אתה אדוני, הטוב שמך לחנך להודות. שלום רב ישראל עמך, ועל כל שבי תבל תשים לעולם, כי אתה הוא מלך אדון, לכל השלום וטוב בעיניך. לברך את עמך ישראל, בכל עין וראשה, משלומך, ברוך אתה אדוני, המברך את עמו ישראל בשלום. יהיו רצון אמרי פי וגאוני בפניך, נצורי וגואלי. צדקתך צדק לעולם, ותורתך אמת, וצדקתך לימד מרום, אשר עשית גדולות לי מחמוך, צדקתך כאריאל, משפטיך תהום רבה, אדם ובהמה תושיע אדוני. יקרא ויקדש שמי רבה, אמן, ואמר ירק ירצה, וימליך מלכותי בחייכון ויומכון, וחיי לכו בישראל, מעלה בזמן גרי, ואמרו, אמן, יהי שמי רב מברך, לעולם עולמי עלמיה, יברך וישתבח, ויתבר ויתרם וינשא, ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל, שמי קודשה בריחו. לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה דמירן בעלמה ואמרו אמן תתקבל צלותון ובאותון דכל ישראל קודם אבואון דבשמיא ואמרו אמן יש למרוב מן שמיא וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן עושה שלום במרומיו הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל יושבי תבל ואמרו אמן. הלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, תתגלה את ראשית של עשנו. ככתוב בתורתך, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, ונאמר ויונה למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא אדוני אחד ושמו אחד. Kadisha Tome, page 232. יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, מן בעלמה דברה קירותי, וימליך מלכותי, בחייכון וביומכון, חיי דכל בית ישראל, מעגלה וזמן קריב אמרו אמן, יהי שמי רבה מברך לעולם עולמי עלמיה, יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקודשה בריחו. לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, דאמירן בעלמה ואמרו אמן. יהי שלמה רבה מן שמיה, וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן.
Yasha koach to David. We are going to take a moment to go and get some food. Please just remember to wear your mask while you're serving yourself food. And then he will do a little bit of teaching. Do they need anything? Or you're going to give them the sheet? Okay, great. So please feel free to go and get some food, bring it back, schmooze a little, and then we'll start the learning in just a few minutes. Shakoach.
Okay. I wanted to come a little closer. Can I borrow your watch? Or what time do I need to be done by? Yeah, 5:30. Uh-huh. 3 minutes. Okay. Okay. Yeah, well, we could use 30 minutes. I'm sure we could use. There's lots of stuff. Yeah, for sure. I'm gonna get some.
it goes in here one. We're gonna start in just a second. As you can sort of tell, there's technical issues, which is just kind of par for the course these days. But we are going to let Juan and Hector figure out whatever they are figuring out while David teaches. One of the things that is so impressive and so exciting about having new interns every year, or every 2 years, or however they shuffle through, is that new interns bring different exciting things to the table that we might not have thought of, or that are interesting to them that we wouldn't have necessarily thought to bring. And so David has kind of taken his slots of Minha teachings to be thematic, not through a topic, but through how it's being taught and the content for which is being taught, the book that is being brought from. So this is Midrash, right? Is that correct? Okay, thanks. So this is his second iteration of this class. I don't actually know how many more there are to go, but again, like Julia's doing poetry, David is doing midrash. It's a really interesting way of being able to connect with our residents, with our interns, to be able to see the things that they are interested in, but also to learn from them in a way that they are interested in, therefore makes it a better teaching. So I'm going to let David teach, and I'm sorry for the distraction that I'm sure will be happening with all the technology stuff.
Anybody need a source sheet still? Anyone lacking? All right. Hey, everyone. Good to see all of you. Thanks for joining us for this Mincha Sudah Shlishit. So we are in the second iteration of next week's Midrash tonight. Looking forward into the Parsha for next week that we already began today in the service. So now we can see a little bit of some of the Midrashic takes, some of the stories and interpretations, and what the rabbis draw out of the text to teach us even more than the simple pshat, basic meaning of the text. So this week, we're looking a little bit at the wrestling match between Jacob and the man, or angel, as he's interpreted to be. This moment in the fight where the dawn is breaking, and kind of drawing some ideas out of what that represents, and also how, why would the angel say this? Why would the angel, say, let me go because dawn is breaking? So actually, let's jump right in because it's important to get that context. So the verse that we're working with is Breshit 32:27, the first text. And it says, Vayomer shalacheni ki Allah hashachar, Vayomer lo ashalachecha ki im berachtani. Right? So the man, unknown being that Jacob is wrestling with, says, let me go, for dawn is breaking. But he answered, I will not let you go unless you bless me. And right, this is the moment, this wrestling match that happens throughout the night. Is it real? Is it a dream? Is the person Esav? Is the person an angel? This is the night before Jacob is supposed to reunite with his brother, which he thinks possibly is going to be a warlike encounter based on what he did to his brother, taking away the blessing and the birthright. And so, what this moment really is a question. So there's a lot to drash on, to dig into, to see to ask what's really going on, and to give some interpretations. Okay, so the question that the Midrash is going to take up is, why does this person say, let me go because the dawn is breaking? what is the connection between the dawn breaking and telling Jacob to let him go? He could have said it at some other point. You have some ideas already? Yes. Right. Okay. So don't give too much away. Don't give too much away. So there's some we're gonna get into some idea. What is the function of the angels? When do they function? And how? This is a little bit what the Midrash is gonna dig in. So you're right on. You're right on the money. Right. Okay. So possible nocturnal angels. So let's look into what the Midrash says about it. Okay. So we're looking at the verse. Vayomer shalacheni ki ala shachar. Let me go, for the dawn has risen. And again, the Midrash is often going to take another verse from a different part of the Tanakh to compare, to play off, right? Because when you have two verses, you can kind of pit them against each other, see the comparisons, and maybe learn something new. It's a bit like math, literary math. Okay, so the verse that they're bringing is Ketiv Chodashim Labkarim Rabba Emunatecha, right? They are renewed every morning. Ample is your faithfulness, from Eicha, chapter 3. So if you look below this big chunk of text, Breshit Rabbah, we can look a little bit at this verse to understand what this verse is. You might recognize some words there, Rabba Emunatecha. The end of our Modani actually comes from, is a poetic play on Eicha. Go figure. Our first thank you blessing is from Lamentations. It's always an interesting thing to remember. So this Lamentations text is really this is the shift in Eicha, going from complete despair to possible hope. So he has broken my teeth on gravel, has ground me into the dust. My life was bereft of peace. I forgot what happiness was. I thought my strength and hope had perished before the Lord. To recall my distress and my misery was wormwood and poison. Whenever I thought of them, I was bowed low. And when we turn the page, it's going to become positive. But this do I call to mind. Therefore, I have hope. Chasdei Adonai ki lo tamnu, ki lo kalu rachamav. The kindness of Adonai has not ended. His mercies are not spent. They are renewed every morning. Ample is your grace. So, or your faithfulness. So the thing that is renewed every morning in this verse is God's mercies, right? And the love of God, right? Those are the things that are not spent. They're renewed every morning. Ample is your grace. Okay, so back to Breshit Rabbah on the first page. Amar Rabbi Shimon bar Abba. So the question is, okay, what is this verse talking about? Is sort of what they're intuitively responding to, even though there's no question. The reason is, since you restore us each and every morning, we know that your faithfulness is great to bring life to the dead for us. Right? So that's one interpretation of what they are renewed every morning, ample is your faithfulness. So it's just about the thing that we sing about in Modani, this daily restoration of life. And in a sense, the one of the first blessings of the day, Elohai Neshama, ends with Hamachazir Nishamot Lifgarim Metim, who returns the souls to those who are to dead corpses. It's a little bit redundant. Corpses are dead, dead are corpses. Anyway. So this is this kind of the Mechayeh Metim that we talk about in lots of our blessings, is also this daily occurrence of restoring life in the morning. So that's one interpretation. Rabbi Alexandri said, from the fact that you restore us in the arising of kingdoms, we know that your faithfulness is great to redeem us. Okay, so Rabbi Alexandri takes this verse and goes even bigger with it. He's looking at geopolitical changes, right? The rising of new kingdoms, and implied is the fall of other ones. So this verse, I was talking with some people about it because it's kind of an interesting thing, what it actually means. Mechadshenu bebokran shel malchiyot, right? He renews us in the mornings, or the breaking forths of kingdoms, right? Lego alenu, to redeem us. So maybe it's that, we believe that God is going to bring the right powers to the fore to redeem us, rather than oppressive powers, which we're so used to. So it's sort of maybe messianic, as well as just a hope for geopolitical stability and a regime that is nice to us. Rabbi Chelba b'shem Rabbi Shmuel bar Nachman Amar, right? This next interpretation, Rabbi Chabot said the name of Rabbi Ishmael Bar Nachman, there is never a heavenly band that repeats its praise. Rather, every day the Holy Blessed One creates a new group of angels and they chant a new song before him and then go off. Okay, so this is what we were starting to hint to at the beginning. Rabbi Chabot cites this idea that angels don't repeat their jobs. They have one day full of praise, right? Full of a single type of praise or song, and then they're replaced with another group who sing a new song. So that God's entertainment is always fresh, never the same act, always something new, which I think is a really cool thing. What'd you say? That's a great question. How do we know that? That's a little unclear, right? I think he's drawing on, a tradition, like an oral tradition that is just this idea. And maybe they actually derive it from situations in the Torah when we encounter unnamed people who we assume to be angels. So I think the text that we're dealing with in this wrestling match is one proof text for this whole thing. So really, this is a thesis. He's going to give us some proofs, I think, but it's a really good question. So, Rabbi Berechia said, I countered Rabbi Chalbo, saying, but behold, it is written, and he said, let me go, for the dawn has risen, meaning, and my time has arrived to chant a song. Okay, so what's the conflict here, or what's the problem with that he's raising? Okay, so we said everyday angels are changed out, like the new team's in and the old team's out. So if this angel is saying, let me go, and what it means is I got to go sing my song, I'm supposed to be replaced, right? I don't have to sing a song. The dawn's breaking. I should be done with my job. Okay. So this is some of my favorite parts. He, Rabbi Chelbo, said to me, and I'm going to read it in Aramaic because it's great, Chanoka, savarta lemech nekeni? So he says, strangler, do you mean to strangle me? Meaning, what, you think you're going to get me on that little challenge? Come on, I got an answer for you. Who do you think I am? This isn't kindergarten. So this is just like a great way that the rabbis have these arguments, and talk like real people, we're having little fights. So, he says, I said back, what then does this mean when it is written? And he said, let me go, for the dawn has risen, right? Isn't this angel supposed to be replaced? He said to me, this is Michael and Gabriel, who are the heavenly captains, that all the other angels change daily, but they do not change. Okay, so the resolution of the conflict is, yes, all the angels change except for the ones at the top of the angelic, ladder, as it were, since we had ladder last week. Okay, so that's the first thing. So we're getting in a little bit into, how does this verse work? What does it mean to say, let me go because the dawn is breaking? And then the question of, okay, well, maybe some angels actually do have a more consistent role and some are switched out. Any thoughts so far, or anything that's coming to mind that you want to discuss, or is this all trippy and and just a fun journey? That's also okay. All right. Well, so we'll move forward. Okay, so that's the first part of this midrash. Okay, and then we get a really interesting conversation between Rabbi Yoshua ben Hanania and Adrianus, who is one of the governors of Rome. And what do you say? Adrian, right? Adrianus, yeah. Hadrian, right? But sometimes he's Hadrianus, the Aleph and the Hey switch. So there's a number of different dialogues in the Midrash and in the Talmud where Hadrian or Adrianus is trying to challenge the rabbis and kind of poke holes in their entire theology and belief system and halachic system. And often he's portrayed as really quite sharp with really good challenges, but the challenges are always to the purpose of trying to knock down Judaism almost, altogether. So this is the first line. On Adrianus, whose bones be ground to dust, right? That's like Yamach Shemam, exactly. That's like, may his name be destroyed, whose bones be ground to dust. Asked Rabbi Yeshua ben Hananiah, saying to him, you all say that there is no heavenly band that repeats its praise. Rather, every day the Holy Blessed One creates a new group of angels, and they chant a song before him and then go off. Okay, so he's also challenging what we were talking about. How do you know this? You say this over and over again. Where do you get this from? And he, of course, says, correct, hen. He said to him back, and where do they go off to? Good question. So the question is not where you get it, but all right, where do the angels go off? Nothing is created or destroyed. He said, back from where they were created. Oh, great answer. He said back to him, and where were they created? Where's this spot that they were created? He said to him, from the river Dinur, which is the river of fire. Kind of a mystical idea here. He said to him, and what is the nature of the river Dinur? He said back to him, like this, the Jordan that does not stop neither by day or by night. He said to him, where does it come from? He said to him, from the sweat of the divine creatures, chayot, that they sweat from lifting the throne of the Holy Blessed One. Okay, so we're getting a little bit deep into, on Shabbat we sing the poem El Adon, right? Which is really this mystical vision of the angels and these angelic creatures and animals kind of like singing God's praises every day. And we're getting into this kind of mystical part of the rabbinic tradition, of the early rabbinic tradition, of angelology and angelology and what is the nature of these beings that are developed in our tradition. Okay. So so he says from the sweat of divine creatures that they sweat from lifting the throne of the Holy Blessed One. I just love that too, that the river is formed from their sweat, just carrying God on their shoulders. A little apicorsim maybe for us, but fun for them, I think. He said to him, his associates. This is great because this is Adrianus recognizing in this idea of these creatures that are holding up God's throne as like, hey, that's like my retinue. That's like my advisors. He has advisors too. They're just these chayot. They're not flesh and blood people. But behold, and here's his next challenge, this Jordan flows by day and does not flow by night. Okay, that's, I guess, something about the nature of the Jordan at that time, only flowed by day and not by night. He said, we had a guard in Beit Peor like that which flowed by day and by night. Okay, so this is where it gets kind of weird. So I think it's like a little unclear whether he's actually like referring to a river as a guard, or that there was a guard who saw this river that flowed by day and by night, and he says, no, I'm not talking about that river. I shouldn't have said the Jordan. I should have said this other river in Beit Peor that flowed by day and by night. So I think what's the symbolism of this river flowing by day and not by night? I think it's a little bit of just like this challenge of whether or not this source of angelic being, of divine being, is a constantly flowing thing, or if it's not, it's a little bit of it could be seen as a little petty argument, but it might be actually something underneath it that's really talking about whether your ideas continue to flow and actually have a basis that we can draw on this angel story. Okay, so then we get into, so whatever this transition is in this argument, this mentioning of a guard brings us into a new rabbinic question. Okay, Rabbi Meir says, who is greater, the guard or the guarded? Okay, the Hashomer o Anishmar. Min ma dichtiv ki malachav yitzavelach lishmorcha. Okay, so Rabbi Meir say, who's greater, the guard or the guarded? From that which is written, for his angels he commands to guard you. Thus, the guarded is greater than the guard. Okay, so who can maybe explain how that midrash is working? How does he conclude that the guarded are greater than the guard based on this verse from Psalms? For his angels he commands to guard you. Great. Right. You don't guard something unless it's precious. And that the verse is saying he commands his angels to guard you. That's the whole purpose. The purpose is not that they, have some status as guards. It's that you are taken care of. Okay. And you can see the verse from Psalms below, for he will order his angels to guard you wherever you go. And this is part of the psalm that we're going to say at the end of end of Shabbat coming up, the psalm that we also say traditionally in the Kriyat Shema Lamita, and the nighttime Shema on your bed. This whole verse, which is all about God's protection and making sure you're taken care of through the night, and also this angelic protection as well as God's messengers. So he will order his angels to guard you wherever you go. They will carry you in their hands, lest you hurt your foot on a stone, right? So they're kind of like, again, this other lifting metaphor. You're being taken care of by these angels. Okay, Rabbi Yehuda says, who is greater, the carrier or the carried? Okay, the one who carries or the one who is carried? From that which is written, they will carry you in their hands. That's the next verse in the psalm we just read. Thus, the carried is greater than the carrier. Rabbi Shimon said, from that which is written, and he said, let me go, literally send me. Thus, the sender is greater than the sent. Okay, so we kind of have a number of different things that we finally get back to our verse, which is that ultimately, because the angel says, send me, right? The like, let me go. The one who's letting him go is the important person in this argument. It's not about the angel who is let go. So actually, what I see in these verses, no matter even though it's kind of an awkward transition, I think, from this interesting back and forth with Adrianus, is kind of a rabbinic a rabbinic confirmation that humanity actually is the purpose of existence and creation and God's creation, and that the angels are messengers for us, right? Both of these verses from Tehillim talk about angels carrying us, right? And angels to guard us. And they're saying, what's more important, the angels or the people, right? And it kind of goes back to this wrestling match at the beginning that we have, Jacob, the angel says, you've wrestled with God and man, or with divine creatures and man, and you have prevailed. That's how he gets the name Yisrael, right? Struggles with God or struggles with divine creatures, right? So the rabbis are kind of coming out of this discussion and saying, okay, who's really important? And every time, each and every rabbi are taking the question slightly differently, but they're confirming that the people are the people. The people are the ones who matter, not the angels, right? This is kind of goes back to many discussions in the Talmud about who the Torah was made for people or for angels. And they're saying, no, we're the ones who let the angel go, right? We're the ones that the verse says the angels will carry us. We're the ones who God commands angels to guard us, right? It's really for us. So it's sort of an affirmation of our role in this divine wrestling match that we have in this scene, and that that we have in our tradition. Whether the Torah is made for us or made for heaven, and so we'll leave it there for now. That one was a little trippy. Thanks for hanging in with me. We'll maybe bring it back down to earth next time. Thanks for joining.
we will we will do Kaddish to Rabbanan. Yasher Koch to David. On page, thank you, 111. We are also going to do benching. Don't you worry. We'll do Kaddish to Rabbanan, and then we will do benching before we go into Mariv. Yit Gadal Veit Kadash Shemei Rabbah Be'alma Divra Chirute Ve'amlich Machute Bechayechon Uviyomechon Uvchaye Dechol Beit Israel Ba'agala Uvizman Kari Ve'imru Amen Yehi Shmei Rabbah Mevarach Leolam Lomei Omaya Yit Barach Ve'yishtabach Ve'yit Pa'ar Ve'yit Romam Ve'yit Naseh V'yit hadar, v'yit alev, v'yit halal, shemei dekudesha brechu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tush bechata v'nechemata, da'amiran be'alma v'imru amen. Al Yisrael ve'al Rabbanan ve'al Tamidehon ve'al kol Tamidehon ve'al kol man de'oskin be'araita di ve'atra hadein v'di ve'chol atar ve'atar Yehi lachon ulachon shlam araba china ve'chisa ve'rachamin ve'chayin arichin umezona revicha ufor kana min kodam uvahon v'shemaya ve'imru amen. Yehi shalama rabba min shemaya ve'chayim tovim aleinu ve'alkol Israel ve'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mirmav hu berachamav ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'alkol Israel ve'imru amen. I'll start Shir Hamalo, but if someone can lead us in benching who ate bread, that would be wonderful. And then if there is someone here who has a chiyuv and would like to lead Mariv, we'd be happy to have you lead us in Mariv as well. Shir Hamala Peshuv Adonai et Shivat Zion Ayinu Kechomim Az Yimale Eschok Pinu Ushonenu Rina Az Yomru Vagoim Hidil Adonai Lasoti Meile Hidil Adonai Lasoti Manu Hayinu Semechim Shuv Adonai et Shevitenu Kafikim Ba'negev Hazrohim Bedima Berina Yiksoru Haloch Elech Uvacho Nose Meshech Hazara Bo Yava Verina Nose Alumatav. Mako, would you like to lead us in a Zimun? You just have to do the Zimun part, that everyone can do everything else silently. Yeah, Yishmael Mevarach Me'atav Adolam. Nevarech Shecha. Baruch Elohim Shechanu Mishalov Tivah Chayinu. Baruch Baruch Shema. We'll begin Mariv on page 264. If you're able to do so, please rise.
והוא רחום יכפר עוון ולא ישחית וירבה להשיב אפו ולא ירא כל חמתו אדוני הושיע המלך יעננו ביום קראנו ברכו את אדוני המבורך ברוך אדוני המבורך לעולם ועד ברוך את אדוני ומעביר יום ובין לילה ומבדיל בין יום ובין לילה אדוני צבאות שמו אל חי וקיים תמיד ימלוך עלינו לעולם ועד ברוך אתה אדוני המעריב הרבים אהבה רבנו כי הם חיינו וערך ימינו והם נגע יום ולילה ועבדך אל תסיר ממנו לעולמים ברוך אתה אדוני אוהב עמו ישראל שמע ישראל אדוני אלוהינו אדוני אחד אדוני אלוהיכם אמת ומלכותו ברצון קיבלו עליהם משה ומרים ובני ישראל לכאן ושירה בשמחה רבה ואמרו כולם מי כמוך בעלים אדוני מי כמוך נדר בקודש נורתי לא דוסף אלה מלכותך ראו בניך פוקח ים לפני משה זה לי ענו ואמרו אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד ונאמר כי פדה אדוני את יעקב וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל שיבנו ושמור צאתנו ועינו לחיים ולשלום מעתה ועד עולם ברוך אתה אדוני שומר עמו ישראל לעד ברוך אתה אדוני לעולם אמן ברוך אדוני ביום ברוך אדוני כי המלכות שלך היא ולעולמי אתה בכבוד כי אין לנו מלך אלא אתה ברוך אתה אדוני המלך בכבוד תמיד ימלוך עלינו לעולם ועד ועל כל מעשיו יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה בעלמא דיבר חירותי וימליך מלכותי בחייכון ומכון וחיית לכל בית ישראל בעגלה ובזמן קריב אמרו אמן יהי שמי רבה מברך לעולם לעולמיה יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי לקודשה בריחו לעין לה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה תאמירן בעלמא ואמרו אמן יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, בעלמא דיבר אחירותי וימליך מלכותי, בחי יכונו ויום יכונו חי דכל בית ישראל, בעגלה ובזמן קריב, אמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מברך, לעולם לעולמי עלמיה, יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומה ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל, שמי לקודשא בריחו, לעין לה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה דאמירן בעלמא, ואמרו אמן. והנה יושב בסתר עליון, בקטע שהוא יקראני בנהו עמו אנוכי בצרה חלצהו ועבד בהו אורך ימים אספיהו והרבהו בשועתי אורך ימים אספיהו והרבהו בשועתי יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה בעלמא דיבר חירותי וימליך מלכותי בחי יכונו ומכון וחיי דכל בית ישראל בעגלה ובזמן קריב אמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מברך לעולם ולעולמי עלמיה יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומה ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקודשא בריחו לעין לה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה דאמירן בעלמא ואמרו אמן. תתקבל צלו ודהון דכל ישראל כאדם עבוד בשמיה ואמרו אמן. יהי שלום הרבה מן שמיה וחיים עלינו על כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו הוא יעשה שלום עלינו על כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. עלינו לשביח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצא בראשית שלא עשינו. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחררים. על כן נקרא לחדשות. כי המלכות שלך היא, ולומדיה תמלוך בכבוד, ככתוב בתורתך, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, ונאמר, והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד. יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, ביעלמה דיברה חירותי וימליך מלכותי, בחייכון וביומכון ובחיי דכל בית ישראל, בעגלה ובזמן קריב ואמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מבורך לעולם ולעלמי עלמיה. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקודשה בריחו. לאין להאמין כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, תאמירן ביעלמה ואמרו אמן. יהי שלמה רבה מן שמיה וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן.
הנה ישועתי אפתח ולא אבחר, כי עוזי וזמרתיה אדוני ויהי לי לישועה. ושבתם מים בששון ממענה הישועה, לאדוני הישועה. על עמך ברכתך סלע, אדוני צבאות עמנו, משגב לנו אלוהי יעקב סלע. אדוני צבאות אשרי אדם בוטח בך, אדוני הושיע, המלך יעננו ויום קורנו ליהודים. הייתה אורה ושמחה וששון ויקר, כן תהיה לנו כוס ישועות אשא, ובשם אדוני אקרא. היי אדוני היי אדוני.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, בורא פרי הגפן.
אמן.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, בורא מיני וסמים.
אמן.
ינאי נאי נאי נאי
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei me'orei ha'esh. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamavdil ben kodesh lechol ben or lechoshech ben Yisrael le'amim ben yom hashvi'i le'sheshet yamei hamaseh. Baruch atah Adonai hamavdil ben kodesh lechol. Hamavdil ben kodesh lechol. Chatoteinu imchol.
Zareinu v'chasmeinu yarbe yarbe kachol v'chakochavim balayla. Zareinu v'chasmeinu yarbe yarbe kachol v'chakochavim balayla. Tov, Shavua 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 Tov. Eliyahu Hanavi, Eliyahu Hatishmi, Eliyahu, Eliyahu, Eliyahu Agiladi. Mimera ve'yameinu yavo eleinu. Himashiach ben David, Himashiach ben David.
Shavua tov, everyone. Tonight there is a 1LA event at 7 p.m. So if you would like to come back and support 1LA, it's going to be a lovely night of music, of live music on the field, which is why we're on Corny Night right now. And we will see you then. Have a great week.
I like it out here. Please God.
Oh, sorry. Oh, thank you. yeah, for all of us, for sure.
Okay.
All right. Enjoy. I will be there at some point.
I didn't unplug anything. What did I do?
When you guys move that table, everything unplugged. That's why that one turned off.
But I made sure everything stayed plugged. When I did it, it didn't work.
But everybody was watching from over there.
Oh, okay. They have the side.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So they could hear me.
They could hear you and they could see you from here.
Oh,